Well, just a few minutes ago, I finally finished a rather laborious translation of the coming week's gospel lesson from Luke 3, 7 through 18. It's a very important reading because of the expanded role given to John the Baptist. And so listen carefully as I read my free and dynamic translation that I just made. It'll be posted in text. And then please go to my very short video where I explain some of the nuances of this text, not intended to tell you what it means, but to get you started thinking deeply about many of the important aspects of this reading. Here's my translation. John was in the business of baptizing folks who came in big numbers asking to be baptized. He said to them, "You're all just a wriggling mass of snakes, you and your entire generation. Why are you here? Did someone warn you that you had better get out here fast to get some baptism? And doing it in order to outrun the orgy of judgment that's about to break out all around us right here? Well, if you're sincere, here is what you really ought to do. Actually do the kinds of things that gives evidence of your will to turn your lives around. And don't you dare even for an instant try to wriggle out of all of this by telling yourselves, yes, but when judgment comes, we can always claim our legacy status. We're Abrahamic heirs. If you dare try that ploy, let me remind you that the God, being the God who created all humankind from the beginning, is quite capable of creating a new Abrahamic family just by staying to these rocks around us here. Be ye offsprings of Abraham. At this very moment, the axe in the hands of the pruner is touching the roots of the trees, measuring for the first swing of the axe. And only the trees that produce harvestable crops will escape the axe. Those that are barren will be culled and used for firewood. And hearing this, big bunches of the people who came out to get some baptism said to John, "Well, then tell us what to do." And John gave them answer. For example, look, suppose some of you had twice the number of warm clothes that you need. Well, go halvesies with someone who really needs them. The same way, if some of you have more than enough of food in the pantry than you need, do the same thing. And now in the crowd were to be found government contracted tax collectors, and even they said, "Well, Master, what shall we do?" He answered, "Well, the rules for revenue agents tell you the margins you are allowed. Follow these rules to the letter and take not a penny more, no." Likewise, questioning him were some from the military. "What ought we to do?" He answered, "Never ever shake down someone by blackmailing them or by intimidation. Just be satisfied by your rations of the military contract you agreed to when you signed up first." Deep puzzlement flooded the hearts and minds of all the folks gathered there about who John might be. Inwardly, they kept on wondering, could this fellow be the Anointed One? And without hesitation, John answered their collective puzzlement by saying, "Baptized you indeed I have. However, the one coming brings a force far greater than I possess, one whose sandal straps I do not consider myself qualified even to unloosen. While I have baptized you with water, baptize you indeed shall he, but with both Spirit and fire." Right there in his dominant hand, he is weighing the heft of the fork. he will use to clear off the floor of the wind-swept sifting stage, separating the good grain for storage in the granary and the chaff taken out and used to create a fire that will roar with such intensity as to be impossible to quench. Well, like this, and with much persuasive preaching, John continued in his evangelization of the folks. I'll meet you at the next video where I explain some aspects of this text. And thank you so much for taking some time with me.